Good afternoon, Fort Chaffee Outfitters family and friends. I'm Ethan. I'm here today to discuss firearm safety with you. There are 4 universal safety rules for firearms handling. The first and most important is always treat a firearm as if it's loaded, even if you know it's not loaded. Second rule, keep your finger off the trigger until your sights are on the target and you've made the decision to fire. Rule 3, know your target and what lies beyond it. Rule 4, never let your muzzle cross anything or anyone that you're not prepared to destroy. So now that we've gotten the 4 rules established, let's extrapolate. All guns are always loaded all the time, and even after you have checked to make sure that they're not loaded, you treat them as such. I'm going to insert this chamber flag. That's a great way when you're on the range or you're at class. It's a great way to show clear when the gun's not in the holster, because that removes any doubt that there's a round in the chamber. So now I can lay that down somewhere, chamber flag inserted, no magazine in the gun. Anybody walking by can visually identify quickly and safely that that gun is unloaded. Chamber flags, which most of your long guns will come with some variation of one of these chamber flags. Like I've got this AR here, no mag in the magazine well. Chamber flag is inserted, so there's no doubt when I hold this up to show anybody that this gun's unloaded. They can see there's no mag, chamber flag. Same thing with revolvers. You open the cylinder, ensure the chambers are clear. Ruger, I don't have one handy at the moment, but Ruger sells chamber flags with a lot of their revolvers that will block up the cylinder or whatever to show you the gun's unloaded, and it won't let the cylinder turn. The use of firearms, in a sense, is a martial arts. So with that, it comes a level of respect, of reverence for the firearm and its capacity to do harm. We use them to protect us or provide food if you're a hunter, but you have to always consider that it has lethal implications. For you seasoned gun owners, it's really important that you not become complacent when handling firearms. Complacency kills. Rule 2, keep your finger off the trigger until you have decided to fire and your sights are on target. A lot of your firearms instructors, the thing that they're looking for when you're on the range is that when you're not on your sights, meaning to press the trigger, that your trigger finger is high and register, indexed along the side of the frame or the slide of the pistol, not down here around the trigger guard, because inevitably, if you're one of these people that stays here, eventually your finger will curl into the trigger. Rule 3, don't let your muzzle cross anything or anyone you're not prepared to destroy. I've heard several firearms instructors suggest to pretend like your firearm is equipped with a laser, whether it is or not, or even a lightsaber, and just imagine that as you sweep across things, you're cutting whatever you're pointing the gun at. Just like there's an infinite lightsaber that comes out the end of your barrel. That's why we try to manipulate the gun in a fashion that we're low at the ground. Really, you could say in a practical application, like in the real world where there's not a truly safe direction to point the gun at all times, it comes down to pointing the gun in the direction of least consequence. So that means like when you're concealed carrying, you're not physically holding the gun, but it's in your holster. Depending on how you manipulate your body, your gun is always pointed at something. 90% of the time it will be the ground. For those of you that appendix carry, obviously it's pointed at yourself most of the time. Anyone with a shoulder holster, when they're walking around, their gun's pointed back at whoever's behind them in the checkout line. So it really boils down to direction of least consequence. Rule 4, know your target and what is near and far of your target. You want to know when you go to take that shot that there's not somebody running lateral to you that's going to intercept your shot. You want to be sure that, like, if you're shooting at a piece of paper at the range, there's not some guy downrange picking up brass that didn't hear anyone call range hot and you didn't know that he was down there. You want to check and be sure before you start shooting at stuff. 2 young guys had come in one day, I think it was on a Thursday maybe. They were both within a few months of each other in age. The one was saying that he had just turned 21 and was excited to buy his first handgun. So they were in on a Thursday. Both were interested in the same model of gun, but different colors. And we had joked that, I was down to one gray and one tan. And so they were joking like, all right, the first one back will be the one to decide who gets what color. So they had come back in and bought the gun like Friday afternoon, Saturday morning or whatever. And I had the conversation with them that first visit about if they were going to appendix carry with the soft holster that they had looked at. It was really important that once they drew the gun to take the holster off, make the two back up, and then put it back on. With the soft holsters that collapse, you don't want to be fishing around trying to get the gun back in the holster. Well, the guy bought the gun, bought that holster, and then went home that night and proceeded to play quick draw in the mirror and shot himself in the junk. So he did live, but now he's got a cool party trick. All right, to recap those 4 firearm safety rules: treat all firearms as if they're loaded. Keep your finger off the trigger until you've made the decision to shoot and your sights are on target. 3, don't ever let your muzzle cross anything that you're not prepared to destroy. And 4, know your target and what lies beyond it. We want to thank you for subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you found this video interesting, please like and subscribe and share it with a friend that maybe needs some introduction to firearms ownership.